Offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B.
All right, everybody. Scottsdale is where you can find us today here at Twin Peaks. We will be here until 4 o'clock. Bob Nightengale is going to join us, USA Today baseball columnist. You can find him on X at B Nightengale. That's at B Nightengale. Bob, thank you so much, pal, as always, for coming on the show. And, you know, during the summer months, we always used to, when there was nothing going on, we would say, all right, Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame or not in the Hall of Fame? And the phone lines would light up, and everybody would offer up an opinion. So here we are now with his passing in death, now having an opportunity to finally be at least eligible to be voted on. How did this play out for you, being a long-time baseball guy?
Well, I knew it was coming. I mean, Donald Trump had met with the Rob Manfred in January, then again in April, saying this guy belongs in. I'm going to pardon him for the tax evasion, that sort of thing. So a lot of pressure on him politically-wise. And then I thought, he circled back with some Hall of Famers. They said, okay, if you want to put him on the ballot, fine. We're not sure he belongs in there, but go ahead and put him on the ballot. So here he is. He's on the writer's ballot. He's on the Veterans Committee ballot of 16 people.
And then also the scenario, Shoeless Joe Jackson. How did that unfold as well?
Well, it's almost like, hey, if you're going to let Pete Rose be eligible, let everybody be eligible. Yeah. So it's almost like, okay, if you're dead, you're eligible, no matter what your transgressions were or what have you. So I think it's kind of hand in hand. Like you can't pardon one without the other.
You know, Bob, when you read that, I was a little upset. I'm like, why couldn't you have done that prior to while they were still alive? And the thing that kind of rubbed me wrong, I don't know about you, was the whole thing about, well, now that they're dead, they can't insult or they can't ruin the integrity of the game per se. If I read that right, I don't know. I felt that a little contradictory in my mind in reference to why they did it. Maybe there's more to it.
No, you're right. I mean, especially, in the Rose thing, obviously, Shoeless Joe Jackson been dead for quite some time. But in Rose, I always thought that there was no way he would ever make it when he's alive, that he has to be dead. Because I think they thought that, okay, he's going to embarrass baseball, embarrass the Hall of Fame by just, doing different things with, gamblers and casinos and stuff like that. So I always thought that he had zero chance unless he was deceased.
Now, why the wait until 2028? Well, what is the reasoning behind that? Is that a senior committees thing along with the writers? Because a lot of people had a lot of question marks online with why the 2028 wait to install him, hopefully.
Yeah, it just goes in every 3 years, when there's the executives, with managers and GMs, that sort of thing. This time around, it's the contemporary guys. So it's the Barry Bonds, the Roger Clemens of the world. So it just goes circulates every 3 years. So he missed a cutoff. That's why he's got to wait till a 2027 ballot, 2028 induction to make it.
What's been the reaction that you've pretty much put the pulse out there for Major League Baseball per se, and then the players maybe per se?
Well, very mixed. It's like, okay, yeah, he was a Hall of Famer on the field. Yeah, he violated the cardinal sin of baseball. I mean, there was never any signs up that said don't take steroids. There were always signs up, no gambling. Yeah, he gambled. He said he only gambled his own team to win. But every book in the world knew that, okay, he was going to do everything possible to win that game. When he wasn't betting the Reds, he didn't care whether they win or lost, so they would jump all the other one. So, are we going to let a guy in that bet on baseball? Shoeless Joe Jackson actually was, taking money from mobsters to throw a World Series. So, it's almost like a character thing. Are you really going to, not let a Roger Clemens, a Barry Bonds, a Sammy Sosa in, just transgressions towards steroids, and you're actually going to let a guy in that violated the biggest rule in baseball? So, yeah, a lot of discussion here.
All right. Since there's a lot of discussion, what do you hear then about the so-called steroid era? And now that Rose, Shoeless Joe, and some others are now eligible, will voters change their opinion on the steroid era or not?
Or do we have to wait for those guys to die as well, too? Because precedent's been set here, Bob, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I don't think Rose gets in, at least not right away. I really don't. Will he get more than four votes to stay alive? Yeah, I can see that. But I don't think he gets in right away, because I think the voters will say, you know what? You let him in, you got to let Bonds and Clemens and Sosa, everybody else in too. Even Alex Rodriguez, who's suspended for a year, that sort of thing. So that's why I think it's going to take some time. I don't see him getting voted in right away. I really don't.
What about Shoeless Joe? Same thing?
Yeah, I can't see him getting it before Pete Rose. I mean, he was taking money in the Pro World Series.
Right.
And we're going to start putting guys in the Hall of Fame that actually, took money and purposely try to get their team to lose. Then everybody's eligible. Let everybody in. I think that's a tough call, particularly for him. For him to throw World Series and let him in.
Right.
I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I'm with you on the Shoeless Joe one. Absolutely. All right, take me to the games that they are playing right now. So we have watched the Arizona Diamondbacks win 2 of 3 from the San Francisco Giants. Wasn't pretty, but you don't have to be pretty. All you got to do is walk out of that stadium with a W. So they are still in striking distance. It has been my premise that they cannot fall 10, 11 games back by the end of May. They have to start showing some sort of consistency to stay in contact with the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants. Is that fair, Bob, or not?
Yeah, I don't see the Giants hanging around. I think they've been playing on their head. I've been saying this for a month. I just don't see it lasting. The other 3 teams, yes. And, hey, the Dodgers have flaws. They, have a mess of starting rotation. Padres are good. They're not, a super team. So I think the Diamondbacks certainly stay in that wild card hunt, year after year.
3 minutes.
Away. And I think it'd be, catastrophic for them not to make the playoffs. I think they will.
What do you feel is going to happen with Eduardo Rodriguez? This guy's ERA is 7.00. Do they move somebody up? It's not improving, as I'm trying to say, Bob. Is there a chance he could go to the bullpen? Is there a chance they send him down to get things straightened out? He's just not looking good at all early on here in the season.
Yeah, I think they say status quo for now. He doesn't go to the bullpen, certainly not the minor leagues. And Diamondbacks have had an awful track record in recent years of getting free agent starters. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a Jordan Montgomery, Madison Bumgarner, here, that sort of thing. It's not looked good at all. And he's been very, he's pitching like a 5th or 6th starter. So I think they stay status quo for now.
And overall, the staff, hey, let's face it, Bob, they're giving up touchdowns here. You look at this team, they're only, as Jimmy alluded to, they're only 5.5 games back. They're 23-21, but their run differential is -4. They're the only team in the league
2 minutes.
that's within 5 that has an earshot of is on a negative differential. Just goes to show you they're scoring, but they can't stop anybody from scoring.
Yeah, the rotation has been erratic. Obviously, probably Brandon Foss been the most consistent guy. Merrill Kelly's been our best guy of late. Gallen's been up and down. We saw a great start from Corbin Burns last time. So it remains to be seen. I still think rotation is very good.
Well, on top of that, I think that hopefully that settles down. By the way, I love your article here at B. Nightengale on Twitter. Since Pope Leo, Jimmy, I don't know if you saw this.
I saw this.
Since Pope Leo stepped into office, White Sox, his favorite team, and he made views very clear at that, are 4-1, and my St. Louis Cardinals are 5-1. Pope Leo, where you been? Get the White Sox going.
Exactly. Yeah, he's on fire, and it's amazing what the Cardinals are doing.
Yeah.
Here's a team that's trying to rebuild, and they're winning. White Sox obviously set the all-time record last year with 121 losses. Rockies on pace to eclipse that. For the White Sox, another getting pounded today, but they're playing pretty good pretty good baseball, at least compared to a year ago.
Well, and you also mentioned that nobody knew. I mean, who knew, Jimmy, that the Twins have won 11 in a row?
Yeah.
And here they are. They're still 5.5 games back of that AL Central. What is it about the Twins? And we all talked about them early on in the year, Bob, that's finally kicking in.
Well, you always thought that, hey, they're a good team when they're healthy. They were not healthy. They were a bad team. Now they're healthy. I mean, obviously they're not, as good as they're playing right now, but they weren't as bad as before. Hey, they're in a tough division. And we all talked about the NL West. The AL Central is pretty strong. And Detroit Tigers may be the best team in the American League.
All right, Bob. Thank you, man. It's always good when you come on the show. You help us with so much more information. Have a great day, Bob.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
There you go, Bob Nightengale, everybody. USA Today columnist. He is presented by Chill Boys, and wearing bad underwear, Manuch does. That's like striking out looking. Chill Boys boxers are a home run. Soft, cool, built for comfort in the clutch. Step up to the plate at chillboys.com and use code ESPN and score 20% off. Once again, that is Chill Boys. Well, the Celtics are staring down a Game 6. Timberwolves are back in the Western Conference Finals.